4 vanishes without a trace. Mommy picks up 9-year-old little girl from sleepover in the middle of the night, 1:45 a.m. Mommy and little girl go to sleep together, same bed. 4 hours later, the 9-year-old girl wakes up. Mommy is gone. Mommy's white Nissan SUV found abandoned, flat tire, quarter-mile from home. After frantic text messages to Mommy's best friend, was Mommy's cell phone used again, 5 a.m. Bombshell tonight. At this hour, investigators dragging a nearby riverbed for Mommy's body using high-tech side-scan sonar and heavy-duty dragging equipment. And just found women's clothing being tested for DNA. Is it Karen's? And did Karen's husband, in the middle of a highly contentious divorce, cut off communications with Mommy's family members?
We just want to know.
Police are searching for a missing mom of 4 who was last seen inside her home.
New evidence seized in the desperate search for missing Tennessee mom of 4, Karen Swift. Major developments in the mystery.
Please, please, let us know.
She was putting the final touches on a Halloween party for the girls.
Investigators searched this wooded area a few miles from her home.
Preston says nothing appeared to be out of the ordinary.
Everything seemed okay.
Later found Swift's vehicle, a white 2004 Nissan Murano with a flat tire.
We're not ruling out foul play. We're looking for any unknown tire tracks, any unknown items that might be in the area.
Friends report some of Karen's clothing was found in the car.
Gray zip-up like someone would use for jogging.
She did everything on her phone.
In her text message, she said, "Call me, please," with her exclamation points.
Every day that we look, we are adding something to the investigation.
The search for Karen Swift remains in full swing.
And I love you, Mom.
Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. I want to thank you for being with us. Bombshell tonight. Upscale Memphis area neighborhood reeling after a beautiful young mom of 4 vanishes without a trace. At this hour, investigators dragging a nearby riverbed for Mommy's body using high-tech side-scan sonar and heavy-duty dragging equipment.
Karen Swift missing.
Disappeared in the middle of the night.
4 children left in the wake.
My mom and my little sister went to sleep. They both got in their pajamas, went to sleep.
But when the 9-year-old wakes up, Mommy's gone.
The search for Karen Swift remains in full swing.
Her SUV found abandoned with a flat tire half a mile from home.
There was 3 text messages, and the last one was "call me right away" with an exclamation point.
Her cell phone gone.
Dad was in the house. Dad was actually the one who reported her missing to the cops.
I can tell you that he did not want the divorce.
We are very worried, very concerned.
She's nowhere to be found.
I wish I knew where my daughter is. I wish I know if my daughter's safe.
Where is the gorgeous young mom of 4 at this hour? A nearby riverbed being dragged and high-tech side-scan sonar being used, looking for Karen's body. She goes missing seemingly in the middle of the night, this in the middle of a highly contentious divorce. The 9-year-old little girl calls home from a sleepover wanting Mommy to pick her up. She does, 1:45 a.m. She and the 9-year-old little girl go to bed together in the same bed, but when the girl wakes up that morning, Mommy is gone. We are taking your calls straight out to Bonnie Drucker, joining us from New York. Bonnie, what's the latest? What can you tell me about this riverbed being dragged?
Nancy, this is a massive search, certainly the biggest search since Karen Swift went missing. 50 people are involved, six rescue squads. The river, the lake, the banks are being searched, sonar equipment and dragging equipment. And Nancy Grace, you and I both know that unless there were some kinds of tips, the cops would not be looking at that water tonight.
With us is Gary Peterson, death scene investigator, search coordinator. Gary, thank you for being with us. Explain the process of dragging a riverbed and what is side scan sonar.
Hi, Nancy. The process of dragging a riverbed is to take a boat with a rope that attaches onto a bunch of treble hooks. And this is pulled through the water in the hopes that the hooks would snag up on a body. One of the downfalls to that is that the dragging operation will also hook on vegetation and rocks and things like that. The side scan sonar is one step up in technology from doing the dragging. That is able to show the shapes and outlines of anything in the water, and hopefully the visibility cooperates with that. My recommendation would be if they work those two resources to think about putting in cadaver dogs, water-certified cadaver dogs. They could make their job a whole lot easier.
With me, Gary Peterson, death scene investigator and search coordinator. Gary, you mentioned the use of treble hooks. Could you please explain what those are and how they are used?
Treble hook is like a fishing hook that has three prongs on it, and it swivels in the water. And so when it catches on something, it's like a fishing hook that's got three hooks on it, and they're good, but they do take some time and effort, and they have a tendency to get all snagged up and everything else.
With me, Gary Peterson, search coordinator. Speaking of the use of treble hooks, Gary, another issue is, well, first, explain what they look like, how big they are, because this is intended to find, to detect, and bring up a human body at this hour. A highly sophisticated side scan sonar in the search for a lovely young mother of four, Karen Swift, missing out of her own bed with her 9-year-old girl sleeping with her. How big is a treble hook, and does a treble hook have the potential of harming the body and therefore not being able to determine cause of death, Gary Peterson?
This would be one of the issues, Nancy, that treble hooks are perhaps a foot in diameter, and if you've done any fishing at all, the hooks that are used in fishing have a piece on them, so when you pull it into something, it's going to snag. And yes, it does have the tendency to really do some harm to that cadaver, to that body. That's just the plain, simple truth, that it does get snagged, and they have to bring it out that way.
Gary Peterson, explain how side scan sonar works. And Liz, if you could put the map up and show the viewers where the riverbed search is going down. Go ahead, Gary Peterson.
Yes, the side scan sonar would be in a boat, and on each side of the boat is the apparatus for the sonar. And they would be driving, taking the boat along the shore, making a sweep, coming back to the other end of the lake or pond and coming back up, and then turning around and go back down again. Typically, they have an area of probably 50 yards that they could see something. When you see an outline, stop and mark that spot.
What does it look like when you're looking at the screen, Gary, if they are to find Karen's body? What would it look? How would it appear on that screen?
It would appear as a body, depending on the depth of the water and how close they can actually get to it. But I've seen it where the image is very clear, and it is very discernible as a body.
And another issue, I'm going to go back out to Bonnie Drucker, joining us, Gary Peterson, death scene investigator and search coordinator. At this hour, a riverbed being dragged with heavy-duty dragging equipment and highly technological, high-tech side scan sonar looking for the body of Mom of 4, Karen Johnson Swift. You know, this Riverbed Bonnie Drucker, if she had been thrown into the river, I would think, unless somebody had a boat, that she would be closer to one of the sides, the sides of the riverbanks, correct?
Yes, I agree with you.
But another issue, you know, a lot of areas in the river, let's see the map again, Liz, it's only 5 to 6 feet deep. In the dark of night, someone could potentially weight the body down with, for instance, cement blocks like in the Scott Peterson case, and actually walk out into the water and float the body out to the middle of the riverbed.
Yeah, Nancy, again, I agree with you right there. Police are being very tight-lipped right now, so we are waiting for some more information as a result of that.
With me right now, Jason Cannon. He is the editor of the State Gazette, joining us from Dyersburg. Jason, what can you tell me about this particular body of water?
The O'Brien River, it cuts through Dyer County, flows out towards the Mississippi River, and it's several miles long through Dyer County.
And, you know, it's my understanding, Jason, that there are certain spots where it's only 5 to 6 feet deep. Someone could actually walk a body out there and weight it down and put it in the middle of the river that way. Are there very many crossovers, such as bridges on the O'Brien, Jason?
Yes, there are several crossovers in the county.
Because that would be perfect cover for somebody to go out into that water with the bridge over them in the middle of the night. We saw that happen a lot in the Atlanta serial killings. A lot of young boys' bodies were thrown off bridges and taken out into the water underneath a bridge, with the bridge being the cover in the middle of the night. Very feasible. Jason, and how far, Jason Cannon, is the O'Brien from Karen's home?
It's approximately 3 miles.
Everybody, we are bringing you the latest and taking your calls. Cops expanding their search for a missing mom of 4. She picks her little 9-year-old girl up from a sleepover 1:45 a.m. Goes to bed with the daughter. Daughter wakes up 6 a.m. Mommy is gone.
Wherever Karen's at right now, it is not by choice. She did not leave her children. She would not leave. So whatever has happened, it was foul play.
There's a lot of questions.
We're still, you know, doing everything we can to find those answers out right now.
About her, please, please let us know.
Devastates us. It's unbelievable that she's gone right now.
There are more questions than answers into the disappearance of Tennessee mom of 4, Karen Swift.
The Dyer County mother who seems to have vanished without a trace.
Preston says nothing appeared to be out of the ordinary.
Everything seemed okay.
Dozens of volunteers have been scouring.
We've had bloodhounds. We've had numerous law enforcement on the ground. We've had assistance from the Highway Patrol.
Investigators took to the sky looking for anything that could help them find Karen Swift.
What happened to Karen Swift?
Asking for prayers and to look for her.
We are taking your calls. Where is missing mom of 4, Karen Swift? Goes to bed with her little girl. She's only 9 years old. At 1:45, she's going to bed with her little girl. 1:45 a.m., 6 a.m., she is gone. Straight out to Nicole Parton, investigative reporter. Nicole, she was an avid workout enthusiast. I've talked to her mom. Her mom tells me, and her best friend tells me, that a lot of times she'd get up and go to the Y and work out. But I contacted the Y. This was a Sunday morning. The Y does not open until 1 p.m. on Sundays. She was not going to the Y, Nicole Parton. Her car, less than a quarter mile from her home. She's an avid runner. She could have gotten home in 5 minutes, a quarter mile. Are you kidding, Nicole Parton?
Good evening, Nancy. You're exactly right. We do know that she was very athletic, involved in running most every day for the past year or so. Like you said, a quarter of a mile within her home. Had the flat tire happened while she was driving, certainly she would have ran back to her home. That is the reason we suspect foul play. Is this a setup? Is this crime scene been posed to make us look like something went wrong? This lady would have had no problem at all tracking back to her home.
We are taking your call straight out to Jason in Canada. Hi, Jason. What's your question, dear?
Hi, Nancy. It's a pleasure talking with you again.
Likewise.
Yes, I have two quick questions.
Okay.
Okay. What is the husband doing in the search for the missing for his wife?
Yes.
Sorry. And what brought cops to the river?
What brought cops to the riverbed? Good question. To Jason Cannon, State Gazette. What is the husband doing in the search for Mommy?
David Swift hasn't been involved, I don't think, in any type of the official searches for Karen Swift. So he's kind of staying in the background, I believe.
And to you, Bonnie Drucker, what led police to the riverbed?
Nancy, you know, this is what I was saying earlier. The cops are being very tight-lipped, but obviously there is a tip, and something has led them to the water. Otherwise, they would not have been there. They wouldn't be investing all these resources there. So there must have been a tip that led them to that water, Nancy.
We are taking your calls right now. A riverbed very close to Karen's home, being dragged with heavy-duty dragging equipment and also high-tech side scan sonar being used to find the body. Joining us is Jeffrey Johnson. This is Karen's brother, and he will be taking your calls. Everyone, tip line 731-285-2802 at this hour. Is Karen's body at the bottom of the Obion River? Her mommy
disappeared in the middle of the night.
Deputies found her SUV at this intersection.
I'm in total shock, but I keep hoping for the best.
We want to know she's okay. And I love you, Mom.
Reportedly last seen by help.
He did not want a divorce. You know, he loved his family, wanted them to stay together.
We are taking your calls. Where is missing mom of four, Karen Johnson Swift? We're being joined by her brother, Jeffrey Johnson. Hold on. I got a big question for the lawyers. Alex Sanchez, New York. Daryl Cohen, Atlanta. First to you, Alex. We understand the husband has not been helping too much trying to find his wife. Why?
I have no idea why he's not helping, but, you know, he may just be in a great, maybe very fearful at the present time. Imagine being told to go out and search and possibly find your deceased wife. I mean, that's a pretty horrifying prospect. He could be in a state of depression. I'm not sure what his motivations are, but I'm not sure that fact in and of itself should lead someone to believe that he's somehow connected with the disappearance of his wife.
Well, you know, you're the one that said that. He has not been named a suspect at all. And I thought you might surprise me, Alex Sanchez, but you didn't. Okay, Daryl, your turn.
Well, Nancy, there could be numerous reasons why he's not cooperating. He may very well be involved in this. Well, he may be involved in it. Keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. They can't do anything to you if you say nothing. Why else would he be? It's said that he was not in favor of a divorce. Maybe he's trying to get even. Maybe he was so mad he did something. Let's face it. How did this flat tire take place? Was it shot out? Does anybody know how the flat tire took place? Was she set up or did she leave? Was she kidnapped? We don't know, and we need to find out.
With us, Alex Sanchez, Daryl Cohen. I'm being told in my ear, joining me right now is Karen's brother, Jeffrey Johnson. He's joining us from Walnut Ridge, Arkansas. Jeffrey, thank you for being with us.
You bet.
Jeffrey, have you been in touch with Karen's husband?
I've talked to him about a week and a half ago.
Okay, in the middle of your sister being missing, that's quite a few days that have passed. What is he doing in the search effort?
I'm not sure that he's doing nothing. I don't believe he's getting out there.
You know, Jeff Johnson, I find it very difficult to believe that Karen would get up in the middle of the night, leave her 9-year-old girl sleeping in the bed with her, and take off. Does that sound like your sister, Jeffrey Johnson?
No, it doesn't.
This mother disappeared in the middle of the night.
Her car has been taken to the TBI forensic lab for testing.
See, one thing that bothers me is the car is facing home, which means she should have gone someplace. Where did she go? Wasn't there any evidence of her maybe stopping at a store?
I believe her cell phone is going to be a major player in this. From the triangulation logs from days before.
The daughter wakes up and the mother is gone. The car is found several hours later on the side of the road.
Whether the flat tire was slashed or whether the air was let out of the tire and how the tire became flat.
You would look for DNA evidence, blood evidence. I mean, she's going to have DNA in the car. It's her DNA, but is there blood in the car?
My concern goes out with the children, and what is the tone in that house? With Dad there and everyone knowing they're getting a divorce, what's really going on?
We are taking your calls out to Pat Brown, criminal profiler, author of The Profiler. You know, we've got her brother with us right now, Pat Brown. He says no way would she have taken off in the middle of the night and left her daughter asleep in the bed with her. That's a 9-year-old little girl she picked up from the sleepover who wanted to come home, didn't want to spend the night. She's also got a 6-year-old little girl in the house. There's a very contentious divorce going on. It's like the War of the Roses in that the husband is still living in the house in a different area. All right? Awkward. He is not a suspect, Pat Brown, but not really helping in the search for his wife. I don't get it.
Yeah, I have a problem with that too, Nancy, because he has to get up every day and look at his 6-year-old and 9-year-old daughters and say, I'm not doing anything to find your mommy. I don't even care if you're angry at her, you're furious at her, you don't ever want to see her again yourself, but your little girls want to see their mommy, so you will be out there looking for that woman.
With me is Karen Swift's brother, Jeffrey Johnson, joining us, her family doing everything they can to find her. Jeffrey Johnson, again, thank you for being with us. I understand, we've been hearing rumblings about this for a few days now, that women's clothing was found and it's being tested at the TBI, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Crime Lab, right now. What do you know, Jeffrey?
Well, my mother had talked to the sheriff this while ago. It was probably about an hour ago, and they found some clothes by the O'Barian River, and they are searching that river right now with sonar equipment and trying to see what.
Now, you're saying O'Barian River? I thought it was the O'Bine River.
That's it, the O'Bine River. My bad.
Okay, so they found clothes near the O'Bine? Is that women's clothing?
That's the way I understood it.
Okay. We understand that right now, treble hooks being used. Let's see a shot of that, Liz, to search for Karen's body. I know that's not a good headline, but right now her family searching for her desperately. Even if the outcome is bad, they want peace. To Jeffrey Johnson, Karen's brother, joining us. What about the little girls? What's everybody telling them about mommy? They're only 6 and 9 years old.
Well, the 9-year-old, I don't know if she's just in shock or whatever. She's not showing a whole lot of emotion. The little one, she's a loving little girl anyway, and she gives you hugs and stuff. I mean, they're in shock, no doubt about it. I don't know that they're old enough to know, what's really happening.
Ooh. Paula Bloom, clinical psychologist, author of Why Does He Do That? Why Does She Do That? Paula, thank you for being with us. Our sources told us a 6-year-old for a period of time, refusing to eat without mommy. I mean, what do you tell a 6-year-old or a 9-year-old little girl why mommy's gone? I mean, when I even go to work, I have to sneak out. I've tried telling the truth, Paula. I've tried. It just creates so much drama. Lucy will start crying until she vomits if I try to leave to go to work, so I now sneak out. I know it's wrong. Okay, don't reprimand me. But what do you tell them about mommy really being gone? Not just going to work. She's gone.
Nancy, I'm not going to judge you. Literally right now on the floor next to me, my 9-year-old is here. Just FYI. They didn't have school today. So it's a very difficult thing. I wanted to point something. First of all, I do want to say to Mr. Johnson, I'm so sorry. My heart goes out to you and your family. This mom must have had a pretty good relationship with her 9-year-old, and let me tell you why. A kid has to feel pretty safe that their mom is going to come get them at 1:45 in the morning to call, to know your mom's not going to get mad at you, to come pick you up because you don't feel well. To me, that's a sign that this was a pretty good relationship. And so the idea of her just taking off doesn't make sense to me. The 6-year-old, listen, kids cope in different ways. Some kids' personalities are to just take it, leave it very much inside, what the uncle of the 9-year-old is describing. Not eating, not sleeping, not focusing. Those are not unusual, typical symptoms of an acute reaction from a child.
Also joining us right now, Dr. Kathleen London, attending physician, New York Presbyterian, professor at Will Cornell College. Dr. Kathleen, thank you for being with us. The use of this treble hook to drag the riverbed is unfortunately a necessity in trying to find a human body. But what damage could it do to a cadaver, to Karen's body, if it's there? And how could it stop the determination of cause of death, Dr. Kathleen London?
Well, certainly depending on where it catches, it could certainly interfere. You know, one of the things that I find really troubling in this whole story is there's no way that somebody came into the house and took mom out with a child in the bed. So clearly mom left the house on her own, and who knows what happened after that. And that's a question for me that's catching with me. You know, why was this mom leaving the house early in the morning to begin with? You know, and then the father isn't helping. I understand contentious divorce. I've been there. But things just aren't adding up in any reasonable way. And it's troubling to me. Yes, the mother of his children isn't there and he's not helping. That's odd.
We are taking your calls. Joining me right now, TJ Ward, private investigator. TJ, I want to hear your analysis.
Well, what I think is, as I talked about before, I think we need to go back to the phone call from the girlfriend, the panic phone call at 11 o'clock at night. There's something that's going to tie into that phone call. Obviously, she left for some reason. It may have been tied into that phone call. Maybe they did talk, or maybe there was an email. But something about that phone call could have made her leave. Maybe she changed her mind about getting divorced. Maybe there was a significant other that was calling and she was going to meet. Who knows? And I'm not suggesting that she had a boyfriend or a significant other. But the phone call is going to be very, very important. And the police need to go back and interview this girlfriend in depth and find out why she was making this frantic phone call at 11 o'clock. And then shortly thereafter, in the middle of the night, she leaves.
You know what? I, as her brother stated, I don't see her leaving her little girl in bed willingly, much less at 5 a.m. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't usually hear of sexual rendezvous, you know, at 5 a.m. in the morning, leaving your children behind. But you know what? Let's explore. Jeffrey Johnson, brother of Karen, has anybody advised you who that 5 a.m. call recipient was?
Well, I know she's got some friends that they're a little different, I guess. I don't know how involved.
Are you talking about friend girls, her girlfriends, Jeffrey?
Girls, friend girls.
Okay. You don't know of another man on the scene, do you, Jeffrey?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Everyone, quick break. We are taking your calls in the search for a missing mom of 4, Karen Johnson Swift. But very quickly, our family album is back. Now, I've shown you pictures of
Police are searching for a missing mom of 4 who was last seen inside her home.
New evidence seized in the desperate search for missing Tennessee mom of 4, Karen Swift. Major developments in the mystery.
Please, please, let us know.
She was putting the final touches on a Halloween party for the girls.
Investigators searched this wooded area a few miles from her home.
Preston says nothing appeared to be out of the ordinary.
Everything seemed okay.
Later found Swift's vehicle, a white 2004 Nissan Murano with a flat tire.
We're not ruling out foul play. We're looking for any unknown tire tracks, any unknown items that might be in the area.
Friends report some of Karen's clothing was found in the car.
Gray zip-up like someone would use for jogging.
She did everything on her phone.
In her text message, she said, "Call me, please," with their exclamation points.
Every day that we look, we are adding something to the investigation.
The search for Karen Swift remains in full swing.
And I love you, Mom.
Preston Swift has been making a desperate plea for help.
I love you, Mom.
Ever since his mother vanished.
Police have searched the area with dogs and helicopters, but there's been no sign of the missing mom.
If anyone has any information about her, please, please, let us know.
Deputies found her SUV at this intersection.
Karen Swift
seems to have vanished without a trace.
We want her to come home safe.
Deputies found her car with a flat tire.
If my mother is out there, we are very worried, very concerned.
Investigators searched this wooded area a few miles from her home.
We are live and taking your calls. Where is mother of 4, Karen Johnson Swift, disappears in the middle of the night as she lay sleeping with her 9-year-old little girl. Volunteers wearing snake chaps and boots combing through thick underbrush as the nearby riverbed, the O'Bine, is being dragged with heavy-duty equipment, side scan, sonar, in the search for the body of Karen. We have no indication that she's dead. Her husband is not a suspect. I've gotten clarification on that 5 a.m. phone usage. It was actually a Google search, Jeffrey Johnson, a Google search at 5 a.m. Have cops not told anybody in the family what that search was for, Jeffrey?
No, we haven't heard on that. They wouldn't comment on us on that.
Everybody, we're taking your calls out to Nancy in Texas. Hi, Nancy. What's your question?
Hello, Nancy Grace. As you know, I love you. You answered 2 of my questions, but I thought of 2 more.
Okay.
I want to know, have with the police officers, when they looked, do they know what personal belongings are missing, like anything from her purse, any additional items from the home, anything, that raised the red flag? And also, have they contacted her doctor or anything to see if she was possibly having personal problems like a pregnancy or, like just anything out of the ordinary?
Good question, Nancy in Texas. Let's go straight to Jason Cannon. He is the editor of the State Gazette. He's joining us today out of Dyersburg. Jason Cannon, again, thank you for being with us. Were any of her personal belongings missing? What was left behind in the car? Where was her pocketbook, driver's license, cell phone? What do we know?
I'm not sure exactly what type of items they found. I'm sure they've done a thorough search of the vehicle as well as her residence, and any other type of evidence that they processed was through the TBI's crime task force.
Weigh in, Bonnie Drucker. What do you know about that and about any financial, emotional problems? I mean, she's in the middle of the divorce. That's emotional. What do you know, Bonnie?
Well, we understand that cops found a Halloween outfit in the trunk. We also understand from friends that a zippy, a hoodie, was found along with a pair of jeans. And in terms of financials, according to the family members, I've talked to a lot of family members, a lot of friends, there were no financial problems. And I understand that David has a good job, makes a good living, and Karen was also helping with that. So I'm not sure that this could have been motivated by financial problems, Nancy.
To Jeffrey Johnson, Karen's brother, you spoke to David Swift, the husband, almost 2 weeks ago. What did he tell you at that time, the last time you spoke to him?
He told me that that she did leave the house that night. He was at the top of the stairs when she had left. And that
at 5 8. At what time did she leave?
Well, we never was clear on the time. I really still don't know the time. I know we didn't get the phone call that she was missing Sunday till like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, so the phone call was made, or the Google search on her phone was done at 5 a.m. She goes and picks her daughter up at 1:45 a.m. So she's from the sleepover. So she's getting back home, getting in bed around 2 a.m.
The dog, where her vehicle was, didn't pick her scent up out of the area. I'm thinking that somebody else drove that vehicle there.
That is entirely possible. Karen may never have even been in that car when it was dropped at the side of the road. Have you learned, Jeffrey Johnson, whether the car tire had the air let out of it, or was it actually punctured?
That's what we haven't got no answers on.
Everybody, take a look at Karen Johnson Swift, mother of 4. She goes missing in the middle of the night, leaving behind her 9-year-old little girl and her 6-year-old little girl sleeping in bed.
Who reported her missing to the cops?
I can tell you that he did not want the divorce.
We are very worried, very concerned.
She's nowhere to be found.
I wish I knew where my daughter is. I wish I know if my daughter's safe.
This mother disappeared in the middle of the night.
Her car has been taken to the TBI forensic lab for testing.
See, one thing that bothers me is the car is facing home, which means she should have gone someplace. Where did she go? Wasn't there any evidence of her maybe stopping at a store?
I believe her cell phone is going to be a major player in this, from the triangulation logs from days before.
The daughter wakes up and the mother is gone. The car is found several hours later on the side of the road.
Whether the flat tire was slashed or whether the air was let out of the tire and how the tire became flat.
You would look for DNA evidence, blood evidence. I mean, she's going to have DNA in the car. It's her DNA, but is there blood in the car?
My concern goes out with the children, and what is the tone in that house? With Dad there and everyone knowing they're getting a divorce, what's really going on?
It was normal for her to text me, but for her to call me 2 times in a row, and then when I didn't respond, for her to then text me, that was I felt like that she was upset about something.
Investigators took to the sky looking for anything that could help them find Karen Swift.
Every day that we look, we are adding something to the investigation. We're either ruling things in or out.
In the meantime, whether it's by air or by ground, investigators are searching for clues to find a Dyer County mother who seems to have vanished without a trace.
We are taking your calls in the search for Karen Johnson Swift, mother of 4, goes missing in the middle of the night. About the clothing, out to you. Nicole Parton, this is a very rural area, is it not? And women's clothes were found there near the shore of the O'Bine River. Describe the area for me, Nicole.
Absolutely, Nancy. Dyersburg, Tennessee has a population of less than 20,000 people. This is a very rural area, a wooded area, very congested with trees along the riverbank. It's also important to note this is a very small town. There's nothing open 24 hours a day except for the local Walmart. There's nowhere to go at 5 a.m. in the morning. This is not Manhattan or downtown Atlanta. There's nowhere to go in the middle of the night. Something went wrong.
And I want to go back now to Bonnie Drucker about the missing clothing. Have police confirmed what the items are? We believe that they are women's items and they are found near the O'Bine River. What do you know?
Nancy, police have not confirmed that. We have several calls into the police department and we are still waiting to hear, but it sounds like Jeffrey's mother had just spoken to the sheriff's department and she might have the most up-to-date information on that. Again, we have tried numerous times to reach the police department and so far no luck.
Everyone, we have been trying into the evening, trying to find out whether these clothes actually belong to Karen Swift. Let's stop. And remember, Army Staff Sergeant Clinton Newman, 26, San Antonio, Texas, killed Afghanistan. On a second tour, awarded Bronze Star, Purple Heart, 3 Army Commendation Medals, National Defense